good evening, and welcome. Tonight we're going to look at the night sky for October 2022. Let's just dive right in. I usually read a little segment in the beginning. This time I figure we'll go over some of the definitions that the words of things I've been saying, if that makes sense. Definitions of some of the terms that I've been using in these videos. There we go. I can English. October's events. It's harder to hold this book down now that I'm getting toward the end. Alright. The nights are longer and cooler at this time of year, but that also means there's less atmospheric interference in the sky, so the stars may seem brighter. I always wondered why they were so much brighter this time of year. Now I know. Early in the month, if you are a lark, you can find Mercury low near the eastern horizon just before sunrise. It will be fairly bright, but you can always use a pair of binoculars to enhance the view. Jupiter shines brightly and high in the evening sky this month. Saturn is also visible, though not quite as high in the sky as Jupiter. The summer constellations are now setting in the west, but that also means the beautiful winter constellations are starting to creep up into the sky. And finally, this month we are treated to another meteor shower with the Orionids. The peak night is October 21st to 22nd. It's not one of the best showers of the year, but it can produce about 10 to 20 meteors an hour at its peak. I didn't get to see any meteor showers yet this year, but I did get to spend a lot of time outside last month in a very dark place, so I could see so many different stars. Let's read about the moon this month. On the night of October 5th, the moon passes about 4 degrees south of Saturn. For a challenge, on the night of October 7th, use binoculars to find the planet Neptune just above the waxing gibbous moon. On October 8th, the moon will be roughly 3 degrees from our solar system's giant Jupiter. Wow. On the night of October 11th, use binoculars to locate Uranus very near the waning gibbous moon. Some lucky observers will get to see the moon pass in front of the planet, a phenomenon called an occultation. Wow, I've never heard that term. How neat. The moon passing in front of a planet. Check with your local astronomy club for details regarding your chances of witnessing this rare event. I know you all have a local astronomy club you know how to call on and ask about what they're doing for the occultation. On October 14th, Mars gets a close encounter with when the moon is about 2 degrees from the red planet. Both rise in the east around 10 o'clock p.m. local time. If you are up for an observing challenge just before sunrise on October 24th, use binoculars to look for a very old moon, a thin waning crescent low in the east, with Mercury very close by. For most of North America, this rising moon is less than 24 hours from being new, a popular observing goal. Wow, that's so cool. Some observers may even see an occultation of Mercury by the moon. Check with your local astronomy club. Very important that you do that. Perigee occurs on both October 4th and October 29th, with apogee falling on October 17th. The full moon's on October 9th, and the new moon occurs on October 25th. Thankfully, there'll be some moon on Halloween this year. I mean, it's fun when it's very dark, but then, I worry about the littles running around getting candy. Let's look at the southern sky. Let's see what we have here. If you look to the south, you'll find Saturn sitting in Capricornus, the sea goat, and Jupiter between Pisces, the fishes, and Cetus, the whale. I already see Saturn right there next to Capricornus. This little goat, you can see his little horns. And there's his head, there's his body. Little goat. And then there's Jupiter between the fishies here. One fish, two fish. And a big old whale. Big old whale tail. There's Jupiter. You will also notice a fairly bright star low on the southern horizon. That's Fomalhaut, the brightest star in Pisces Austrinus, the southern fish. The star is the 17th brightest in the sky and is located just 25 light years from Earth. While at one time it was believed that Hubble had captured an image of an exoplanet amid the dust surrounding the star, it had disappeared by 2020, leading astronomers to believe that what Hubble had photographed was an expanding cloud of dust left over from the collision of two icy bodies. Let's find Fomalhaut. Here it is, in the southern fishy. Fomalhaut, right there. How neat. Aren't you loving all the James Webb photographs coming out? It's so spectacular. And I remember when Hubble was launched and we were getting those photos and it was like, oh my gosh, these are fantastic. And now they're like, like 4K, 5K HD. High in the southeast, you'll notice a large square gracing the sky. That's the Square of Pegasus. The constellation is the 7th largest in the sky and has some beautiful targets, including Messier 15 and Stephan's Quintet, a collection of 5 galaxies. It's best to look at these using a telescope. Here are the galaxies. They're all beautiful. Which one's your favorite? I'm guessing that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's so sparkly, but this one is all cool and neat. Same with this one. That is fantastic. Space is so beautiful, you guys. Let's find the square. The Square of Pegasus. The big old flying horse in the sky. And there's Messier 15. There's the Stephan's Quintet. And there's Messier 15. Between Jupiter and Saturn is Aquarius, the water bearer. In this constellation, you can find a beautiful globular cluster, Messier 2. It is roughly 37,000 light years from Earth and has a diameter of approximately 150 light years, making it one of the largest globular clusters in the sky. Wow, let's find Aquarius here, water bearer. There's M2, Messier 2. How neat is that? Because usually the Andromeda Galaxy is really easy to find because it looks so big compared to all the other objects, but this one is larger. It's just that one's closer to us. How neat. Same with the Pleiades. That's a really neat star cluster as well that you can see with the naked eye. Deneb, the brightest star in Cygnus, the Swan, is almost directly overhead, which also means that the Summer Triangle is still well placed for observing a rich part of the Milky Way. Aquila the Eagle is beginning to set in the west along with Scutum the Shield. Yeah, when I was out in the less city-like areas last month, I got to see the Summer Triangle. There's Deneb. Yeah, there's the zenith. That's straight. If you look straight up, you see the zenith. So there's Deneb. That's great. You can see the triangle. I saw the triangle, and then I saw Cepheus, the little house. And what else are we looking for? Aquila, the eagle. Cygnus. Aquila. Yes, I was going to say Altair. I was seeing this. I'm like, that's not Achilles. That's Achilles. That's Aquila, the eagle. Also easy to find because it's a big old bird. Same with Cygnus. Is even a bigger bird. And Scutum the Shield. Oh, down here. And it certainly does look like a shield, doesn't it? Let's see the northern sky. Ursa Major, the Great Bear, is now low in the north, with its asterism, the Big Dipper, featuring prominently. Yeah, very easy to find this time of year to see the Big Dipper there. And if you have good binoculars or in a dark enough place, you can see the rest of the big old bear, not just his body and his long tail. To the northeast is Auriga the Charioteer, with its star Capella shining brightly. There are several star clusters to observe, including the Pinwheel Cluster, Messier 36. This cluster, which contains about 60 stars, lies about 4,100 light years from Earth and is best viewed through binoculars. The northeast is Auriga, the charioteer. Northeast. Let's see, where's Auriga? Or the northeast. Right? How did I forget which way east was? Auriga. This is north. Auriga. The charioteer. He's a little upside down, but there's a chariot. Oh no, because that's where the horses go. And that's where the person would sit. Auriga with Capella. Very easy to see. Look how bright Mars is this time of year. It's so cool. He's so red this time of year. And there's where Uranus will be, where you can see the occultation. Dun, 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 dun. And we're also looking for the pinwheel clusters. Right in there, if you have good binoculars, you can see a cool cluster. It's the, like, I'm pretty sure the pinwheel, like if you picture like a galaxy with its arms coming out, that's the pinwheel cluster. Like, it's a famous one. About 3 hours after sunset, you might notice a bright red star rising below Auriga between the horns of Taurus the Bull. That's not a star, but Mars. She'll begin to rise higher in the sky and toward the south by the end of the month and into November. Yeah, it's very easy to see. He is red, red, red. And there's Taurus, the big old bull right there. The Pleiades right there, too. Let's see what else. Perseus and Cassiopeia are both now higher in the northwest, which puts them in a great spot for observing the Andromeda Galaxy, Messier 31. Yep, we've got, how come I always lose Perseus? Andromeda. Perseus, there he is. I always look this way. He's over here. Perseus and his mother-in-law, Cassiopeia, which is another very easy constellation to find. And there's the double cluster. Let's see. To the northwest, Hercules is now beginning to move toward the horizon, so try to check out the stunning globular cluster Messier 13 one last time before it disappears at the end of the month. This is what it looks like, apparently, Messier 13. That is a cluster if ever there was one. That is so much happening in this picture. These kind of pictures are very overwhelming, so I don't like to look at them for too long. It makes me feel very tiny. But let's find big ol' Hercules. Where is he? He's moving toward the horizon. So I'm so turned around. Which way? Is this not the horizon? Right here? No, because this is north. Hercules. There he is. He's very, like, spread out. He's, like, in a run, isn't he? And that's where Messier 13 is. That would be something to see, wouldn't it? Lastly, we have Lyra, the lyre. Lyra, the lyre. With its stunning bright star Vega, it is also unmistakable in the northwest, though it too is beginning to sink toward the horizon. The northwest. I can read this now. Or can I? Lyra. There she is. Lyra. The Ring Nebula's in there too. If you have a telescope, check out the Ring Nebula, Messier 57. This is a planetary nebula left over after a sun-like star blew out its outer layer and became a white dwarf. When our sun is at the end of its life, it will also die in this manner. Well, that won't happen. I remember my mom telling me that her biggest irrational phobia was the sun exploding. And that's not going to happen for a couple, like, billion years. So we're not going to ever see that as, like, a species. I doubt that humans will be around for that long. But let's look at some terminology right here in the very beginning of the book. Right here. Read you the introduction finally after 10 months. I'm going to skip all this and just get to vocab. So the celestial sphere. Oh, you know, this was what I learned literally day one of an astronomy 101 class about the celestial sphere and the poles and the ecliptic. Anyway, I got excited. The celestial sphere is an imaginary sphere with Earth at its center, At any one time, an observer's night sky view only includes half of this sphere because the other half is below the horizon. So here's Earth and the imaginary sphere around us. Oh, sorry about the light. There we go. Try to keep that out. Earth's axis is tilted at 23.5 degrees to the plane of the solar system, this plane being the orbit of the Earth around the Sun. For observers on the ground, the celestial sphere seems to rotate from east to west. That is why the Sun, for example, rises in the east and sets in the west. The Earth's axis points less than 1 degree away from Polaris, the North Star, in the northern hemisphere. It's really important to know where north is, telling myself that, so you can navigate around the sky. Use a star chart, your smartphone, or both to find true north at your observing location. In the south, the Earth's axis points about 1 degree away from Sigma Octantis, a faint star. And this book's from Canada. Given Canada and the United States are in the northern hemisphere, however, we'll focus on Polaris. When you look at the sky over long periods of time, Polaris stays still as the other stars rotate around it, as you can see here next to the big Inuit monument there. There's Polaris. The stars going around it. It's a beautiful picture, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah, speaking of using your smartphone, I use the Google Sky Map to check out the sky. Also, a compass helps too. Great app to have, by the way, the Google Sky Map. Let me go like this, so I'm not dealing with the glare. Perfect. Here we go. You can easily see this phenomenon by setting up a camera, pointing it toward Polaris, and taking an extended or long exposure photograph of the stars. You will see circular streaks in the sky as other stars rotate around Polaris. Some stars are so close to the north celestial pole that they never set. Other stars farther from the pole will rise in the east and set in the west, just like our sun. Many stars are so far from the pole that they never rise above your horizon. While beginner astronomers will navigate using a simplified star chart, it's helpful to know some of the terminology we use for finding our way around the sky. That way, as you gain confidence, you can follow professional astronomers in their observations. The point directly overhead, your observing location is called the zenith, and the celestial equator is directly above the Earth's equator. The point directly below you, under the horizon and opposite of the zenith, is the nadir. The line that runs from the north point on the horizon through the zenith to the south point on the horizon is the meridian. To navigate the night sky, astronomers created a type of latitude and longitude called celestial coordinates. In astronomy, we use declination, or DEC, and right ascension, or RA. Declination is like latitude on Earth, running from north to south. Right ascension is like longitude on Earth, running from east to west. Declination is measured in degrees, and right ascension is measured in hours, minutes, and seconds. As Earth rotates, the apparent position of most of the stars changes. More advanced astronomers may want to learn more about exactly where to find faint stars in their telescopes. For these situations, we navigate using altitude, or the angular elevation above the horizon between 0 degrees at the horizon and 90 degrees at the zenith, and azimuth, which is the number of degrees clockwise from due north. But if you're just starting out, don't worry yet about these advanced observing techniques. A simple star chart will help you find the constellations and the planets. If you want to look for planets, you should also pay attention to the ecliptic. That is the path the sun takes through the constellations, and the moon and planets do not stray far from that path. It's true. So either you found that totally fascinating, or you are bored to sleep right now. It's one or the other. But either way, mission accomplished. So thank you so much for watching. We'll return on Halloween for the November night sky. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this video relaxing and educational. And I hope that you have a very good night. Good night.